procedure for changing the headlamp on your Polaris ATV. This procedure applies to any of the Polaris ATVs with this body style, which covers most of the ATVs made during the 90s. Now when you look at this, you'll see these 4 screws here on the front. You may think, well, that's got something to do with it, right? Well, that only adjusts the angle of the headlamp. You really have to take this cover off in order to get in here. So let's get started. The tools you'll need for this project are pretty straightforward. You need a 3/8 inch ratchet wrench or just regular wrench to remove some of the bolts. A Phillips screwdriver if you have a 350 or 400 to remove this front door. You'll need a large tipped screwdriver to remove the screws, one on each side. And you'll need a Torx T25 to remove 2 small screws that are on the top here. So let's start by removing the seat. There's a bolt with a 3/16 head here and a 1/4 inch screw with a Phillips head here that need to be removed from each side in order to take this cover off. Once you've removed the screws, you can also take this panel out from each side. On the front are 2 plastic tabs that need to be pushed out from underneath. If you have a Polaris 250 or 300, you just have to get your hand underneath here and push those plastic tabs out. If you have a 350 or a 400, it's much easier to remove this door and then reach in here and push those tabs out. So this is loose. Remove the gas cap and lift off. You'll remove the headlamp cover using a 3/8 inch socket wrench to take this bolt out and your T25 Torx to remove this screw. And there's one on each side. Remove the cap to the oil tank. Lift up. And then you'll find the cable going to the headlamp. You'll need to disconnect. Pull on it straight back. Now you have access to the bulb. Remove the rubber boot. And you'll see this little wire that wraps around to hold it in place. You push down here to release the bulb. Replacing the bulb is basically the reverse. You take the bulb oriented in this direction with these 2 tabs at the bottom and a connector oriented that way. You put it in the socket, lining it up with the little holes. And then you press this wire clip back down into place. Replace the rubber boot and then struggle to some extent to get this connector back on. There you go. Make sure it's in tight because they have a tendency to wiggle loose. And then put your cover back in place. Make sure these metal tabs are on the outside of the plastic in order to put the bolts back in. Replace your oil cap. Once you have your bolt and your screw back in place, then it's time to replace this plastic shroud. Sometimes has trouble clearing the choke here. Just kind of work it down. The other part you want to look at when you're putting the shroud on is these plastic clips on the front. If they don't want to snap in, use a flat blade screwdriver to kind of pry them in where they snap back. Then replace your cover. Replace the screw on each side here and the 1/4" screw that goes here. Once you have the shroud fitted in place and the front snapped in to the clips, then you need to replace the side panel. So it fits onto these little clips here, fits over the frame there. Replace your 1/4" screw here and your bolt with a 3/8" head here. Replace the seat and you're done.